The bullet missed Sarah Chen's head by 3 inches. She didn't scream, didn't freeze. Her hand shot out, grabbed the 9-year-old girl beside her, and slammed them both behind the marble reception desk as glass exploded above them. Men in black tactical gear poured through the Sterling Medical Center's entrance, weapons raised, moving like sharks through water. But Sarah wasn't looking at them. She was staring at the janitor, the quiet single father she'd worked beside for 6 months as he moved. And what she saw made her blood run cold. Because David Mitchell didn't run. He attacked. Stay with me until the end of this story. Comment what city you're watching from. I want to see how far Sarah's impossible night travels, and whether you'd make the same choice she did when she learned the truth. 4 hours earlier, Sarah Chen had been worried about quarterly budgets. "Dr. Chen, you need to see these numbers." Her assistant Marcus stood in her office doorway, tablet in hand, face grim. "The board's going to have questions." Sarah rubbed her temples. 42 years old, chief operating officer of Sterling Medical Center, and she still got headaches looking at spreadsheets. Outside her window downtown, Seattle glowed in the October twilight. Beautiful, expensive, bleeding them dry. "How bad?" "We're $7 million over budget on the new surgical wing, plus the staffing issues, the equipment delays." "I know." Sarah's voice came out sharper than she intended. She softened it. "I know, Marcus. I'll handle the board. I always do." Marcus hesitated. "There's something else. That researcher, Dr. James Caldwell, the one who contacted you last month about the regenerative tissue project?" Sarah's attention sharpened. "What about him?" "He's dead. Car accident. 2 days ago." The room suddenly felt colder. "Accident?" "That's what the police report says." Marcus set the tablet on her desk, but his lab was ransacked the same night, nothing taken except his research files. Sarah's hand trembled slightly as she reached for the tablet. She hid it by adjusting her reading glasses. "Did anyone else know he'd contacted me?" "Just you and me." "Why?" "Because 3 weeks ago, Dr. Caldwell had sent her encrypted files. Research that could revolutionize trauma surgery, save thousands of lives. Research he claimed was being suppressed by military contractors who wanted to weaponize it instead. Research that had a very specific name, Project Lazarus." "No reason?" Sarah lied. "Just tragic. Send flowers to his family." Marcus left. Sarah waited 30 seconds, then pulled out her personal phone, not the hospital one, the burner she'd bought after Caldwell's first contact, and typed, "Package received." Moving forward. She hit send before she could reconsider. The response came immediately, "Dangerous." "They're looking. Be careful." Sarah deleted both messages and threw the phone in her purse. Then she did what she'd been doing for 23 years in hospital administration. She put on her professional smile and went back to work. She had no idea she had 6 hours left before everything ended. The first time Sarah saw David Mitchell, she thought he was homeless. That had been 6 months ago during her late-night rounds through the hospital. She'd found him in the pediatric wing at 2 in the morning, sitting on the floor outside room 412, head in his hands. Janitor's uniform work boots, the kind of exhausted that went bone deep. "Sir, visiting hours ended at 9. He'd looked up and Sarah had seen his eyes. Dark, careful, infinitely sad. "I work here. Maintenance. Just needed a minute." "Outside the cancer ward." His jaw tightened. "My daughter died in that room, 3 years ago. Leukemia. Sometimes I just need to sit here." Sarah's professional distance cracked. "What was her name?" "Emma. She was 7. Sarah had sat down beside him on that cold hospital floor, her expensive suit wrinkling against the tile. They didn't talk much, but something passed between them, the recognition of shared grief. Sarah's mother had died in this hospital 5 years ago. Some pain didn't need words. "I'm Sarah Chen, COO. David Mitchell, night janitor." After that, they'd talked during her late rounds. Small conversations. David told her about raising his 10-year-old daughter Maya alone, about the juggling act of single parenthood. Sarah told him about the pressure of running a hospital, about the impossible choices between budgets and patient care. He was kind, observant, had a way of listening that made you feel heard. Sarah never suspected he was lying about everything. The gala started at 7. Sterling Medical Center's annual fundraiser, black tie champagne donors writing six-figure checks to feel philanthropic. Sarah hated these events, but they paid for pediatric cancer research, so she smiled and worked the room. Dr. Chen. Senator Richardson grabbed her elbow, breath smelling like scotch. Tell me about this new surgical wing. My constituents want to know their tax dollars are being spent wisely. Translation: prove you're not wasting money so I can take credit. Sarah launched into her practiced speech. Statistics, outcomes, community impact. She could do this in her sleep. Across the ballroom, she spotted David pushing a maintenance cart collecting empty glasses. He caught her eye, gave a small smile. Maya wasn't with him tonight. School night, probably with a sitter. Sarah excused herself from the senator and drifted toward the service corridor. Rough night? David asked quietly as she approached. Is it that obvious? You get this look, like you're calculating how fast you can escape without being rude. Sarah laughed despite herself. That's exactly what I'm doing. David handed her a glass of water. Hydrate. You've been schmoozing for 2 hours straight. How did you... I notice things. He shrugged. Comes with the territory. Janitors are invisible. We see everything. Something in his tone made Sarah pause. But before she could respond, her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. They know. Leave now. Her blood froze. Sarah. David's voice changed, sharper. What's wrong? Nothing, excuse me. She turned toward the exit, heart hammering. The research. Caldwell. They'd found her. That's when the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the ballroom. Gasps. Confused voices. Someone's champagne glass shattered. Sarah's training kicked in. Everyone remained calm. Backup generators will engage in 30 seconds. But 30 seconds passed. No lights. Then came the sound that stopped her heart. The ballroom doors slamming open. Boots on marble. Multiple footsteps, military precise. Nobody move. Male voice accented. Russian. We're looking for Dr. Sarah Chen. Ice water in her veins. Someone screamed. Panic rippled through the crowd. Sarah pressed herself against the wall near the service corridor, mind racing. The research. They wanted Caldwell's research, and they knew she had it. Emergency lights flickered on dim red, casting nightmare shadows. 6 men in tactical gear filled the ballroom entrance. Assault rifles, body armor, faces covered by masks. Dr. Chen. The leader's voice carried across the room. Come quietly, and nobody gets hurt. Make this difficult, and we start shooting donors. Sarah's legs wouldn't move. Senator Richardson, drunk and stupid, stood up. Now see here, you can't just... The rifle butt caught him in the temple. He dropped like a stone. More screams. People scrambled away from the intruders, pressing against walls, hiding behind tables. I'll ask once more. Where is Dr. Sarah Chen? Sarah stepped forward. She had no choice. These people would kill everyone here to get to her. I'm Dr. Chen. Every eye in the room turned to her. Terror. Pity. Relief that she wasn't them. The leader gestured. 2 of his men moved toward her. That's when David stepped between them. Sir, please move aside. One of the armed men raised his rifle. This doesn't concern you. David didn't move. You're making a mistake. Sir, final warning. David's hand shot out faster than Sarah's eyes could track. One moment the soldier held a rifle. The next, David held it, and the soldier was on his knees, arm twisted at an angle that made Sarah's surgical training scream dislocation. Time seemed to stop. The leader's weapon swung toward David. "Who the hell are you?" David dropped the rifle, raised his hands. But his voice was different now. Colder. Commanding. "Phoenix security contractor assigned to Dr. Chen's protection detail. You want her, you go through me." Lie. It had to be a lie. David was a janitor, a widowed father who mopped floors, and the leader barked something in Russian. His men fanned out weapons trained on David. "Contractor." The leader laughed. "Your maintenance staff. I've seen your background check. David Mitchell, night janitor, no military service, no combat training." "Then you saw what I wanted you to see." David's stance shifted subtle, but Sarah recognized it from self-defense classes. Balanced. Ready. Last chance. Walk away. Kill him. Everything happened at once. David dropped into a roll as rifles fired. Sarah's medical brain cataloged impossible details, the way he moved, the precision. The calculated violence as he came up behind a pillar, grabbed a fallen serving tray, threw it like a discus into one gunman's face. The man went down, screaming. David disarmed another, used the rifle like a club, dropped a third attacker with a strike that Sarah knew had collapsed the man's trachea. 5 seconds. 4 attackers neutralized. This wasn't self-defense training. This was something else entirely. "Fall back." The leader grabbed Sarah's gun to her head. "Fall back, or she dies." David froze, hands raised. But his eyes, God, his eyes. Cold, calculating, absolutely lethal. "Let her go," David said quietly. "You don't want this fight." "I have a gun to her head. I think I'm winning." "You think that?" David took a step forward. "But you're wrong about something important." "What's that?" "I'm not here to protect Dr. Chen." David's gaze locked on Sarah's. Something passed between them. Apology, determination, truth. "I'm here because she has something my employers want, and they don't accept failure." The words hit Sarah like a punch. David was with them. The leader's grip tightened on Sarah. "You're one of ours." "Freelance." David's voice stayed level. "Phoenix security was a cover. My real client wants Caldwell's research intact and operational. They hired me to get close to Dr. Chen, extract the data when she accessed it." No. 6 months of conversations, the grief he'd shared, Emma's death, Maya's soccer games, it had all been lies. Sarah's vision blurred with tears she refused to shed. "You son of a bitch!" David didn't look at her. "Boss, should I take custody of the package?" The leader hesitated. His radio crackled. Russian. Fast. Angry. He responded, listened, then swore. "We've got company. Federal response team 3 minutes out." His gun left Sarah's head swung toward David. "You're lying. Phoenix doesn't do extractions." "Phoenix doesn't exist," David said. "It's a shell company. You'd know that if your intel was better." The radio crackled again. 1 minute. The leader made a decision. He shoved Sarah toward David. "She's your problem now. Extract the research. Report to the primary client. And if you're lying, if Phoenix tracks this back to us, you'll never find me." David caught Sarah, steadied her. His touch made her skin crawl. "Now get out before FBI turns this into a bloodbath." The team retreated, dragging their wounded, gone in seconds. Silence crashed down on the ballroom. 300 people stared at Sarah and David. Sarah jerked away from him. "Don't touch me!" "Sarah, listen. You've been lying to me for 6 months." Her voice shook with rage. "Everything. Emma, Maya, all of it." "Not everything." Something flickered in David's eyes. Pain, regret. Probably more manipulation. Emma was real. She did die in that room. Maya is real. But David Mitchell... He pulled something from his pocket, a badge. "That's a cover identity. My real name is James Reeves. I'm ATF deep cover investigating arms trafficking through medical supply chains. Sarah's brain struggled to process. ATF? The research Caldwell gave you. It's not just medical technology. It's dual-use biotechnology that can enhance combat soldiers, make them heal faster, fight longer, worth billions on the black market. James David, whoever he was, stepped closer. I've been tracking the buyers for 18 months. When Caldwell contacted you, my operation accelerated. You used me as bait. I protected you. His voice dropped. Those men who just left, they're the buyers. Russian military contractors working for Chinese interests. They've killed 17 people to acquire this technology. Caldwell was number 18. Sarah's legs went weak. She grabbed a table for support. You let them threaten me, put a gun to my head. I got them to leave without killing anyone, without starting a firefight in a room full of civilians. James's jaw tightened. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But right now, you're in danger, real danger. Those contractors think I'm extracting you for a competing buyer. That buys us maybe 6 hours before they realize I lied and come back for real. For real? Sarah's laugh came out hysterical. That wasn't real. That was a warning. Next time they'll level this building. Sirens wailed outside. Red and blue lights painted the windows. James grabbed Sarah's arm. We need to move. Now. FBI response will want to detain you as a material witness. That makes you a sitting duck. I'm not going anywhere with you. Sarah. He forced her to meet his eyes. I know I destroyed your trust. I know you hate me right now. But Maya is at my apartment with a sitter. If those contractors realize I'm federal, they'll use her as leverage. I need to get her to safety. After that, you can turn me into my superiors. File complaints, whatever you want. But right now, please trust me one more time. Sarah wanted to refuse, wanted to scream for the FBI, get this lying, manipulative bastard arrested. But she thought about Maya. 10 years old, gap-toothed smile talked about her dead mother with the kind of grief that couldn't be faked. Maya was real. That much Sarah believed. Where's your apartment? 20 minutes from here. We take my car, grab Maya, drive to the federal safe house in Tacoma. And then I brief my handlers. You give a statement and protective custody until we roll up the entire contractor network. James's voice softened. I'm sorry. For all of it. But I'm asking, begging, trust me for the next 2 hours. After that, you never have to see me again. Sarah looked at the ballroom. Paramedics were arriving. Police, FBI in tactical gear. She thought about Dr. Caldwell dead in a car accident that wasn't an accident. She thought about the rifle pressed to her skull. She thought about Maya's drawings. Sarah had seen them once when David brought his daughter to the hospital cafeteria. Crayon pictures of their family. David, Maya, and a woman Sarah assumed was Emma. Family. 2 hours, Sarah said. Then I'm done with whatever the hell this is. James nodded. 2 hours. They ran for the service exit. Behind them, the ballroom erupted into chaos as federal agents swarmed in. Sarah Chen, pillar of the medical community, had just fled a federal crime scene with a man she didn't know. But as they reached James's beat-up Honda in the parking garage, as he started the engine with shaking hands, Sarah saw something that made her reconsider everything. On the dashboard, a photo, James and Maya, but also a woman, blonde, beautiful, laughing. That's Emma's mother, James said quietly, following her gaze. Her real name was Catherine Reeves. She was ATF too. Killed in the line of duty 5 years ago, not 3. I lied about the timeline, but not the loss. Sarah picked up the photo, studied Catherine's face. Why tell me now? Because in about 30 seconds you're going to have a choice. James pulled out of the parking garage, tires squealing. Those contractors have surveillance on my apartment. They'll know the moment we arrive. I can get Maya out, but it's going to get violent. Gunfire. Probably fatalities. You can walk away right now. I'll drop you at the nearest police station. or you can help me save my daughter. Help you how I'm a hospital administrator. You're a trauma surgeon. James glanced at her. I read your real file too. Before administration, you spent 10 years in surgical residency, top of your class. Volunteered in war zones Syria, Yemen, Afghanistan. You've seen combat trauma. You've treated gunshot wounds under fire. Sarah's mouth went dry. That was a different life. So was mine. James's hands tightened on the wheel. But we are who we are, Sarah. I'm a federal agent playing janitor. You're a surgeon playing bureaucrat. Tonight we both have to remember who we really are. The Honda accelerated through empty streets. Sarah closed her eyes, thought about her mother's death, about the vow she'd made to never work trauma surgery again, to never stand helpless while someone bled out on her table. She thought about Maya's smile. What do you need me to do? Sarah asked. James exhaled relief, gratitude, fear mixing together. When we get to the apartment, you stay in the car. If shooting starts, you drive away. Don't look back. That's not help. That's running. That's surviving. James turned onto the highway. I won't let you die for my mistakes. And I won't let a 10-year-old lose another parent. Sarah pulled out her phone. Tell me what resources you have. Weapons backup exit strategy. A pistol in the glove box. No backup, my handler thinks I'm off duty. Exit strategy is drive very fast and pray. That's a terrible plan. I know. James's voice cracked. But it's all I have. Sarah opened the glove box, found the Glock, checked the magazine with hands that remembered the motion from military medical training. 15 rounds. We need a better plan, she said. I'm open to suggestions. Sarah's mind raced. Hospital administrator, trauma surgeon, skills she'd buried under paperwork and board meetings. But muscle memory didn't forget. Your apartment building. How many floors? 4. Maya's on the 3rd floor. Fire escape accessible from the bedroom window. Contractors. How many? Unknown, probably 4 to 6. Professional grade. And you're one federal agent with a pistol. Yes. We're going to die, Sarah said flatly. Probably. Then let's make them work for it. Sarah ejected the Glock's magazine, checked the chambered, round reloaded. I haven't treated a gunshot wound in 5 years, but I can still stop bleeding. You get Maya. I'll get us out alive. James stared at her. You're serious? Your daughter doesn't deserve to die because we're cowards. Sarah met his gaze. And I'm tired of letting people die when I could save them. Something passed between them. Understanding. Partnership. The beginning of trust rebuilt on the ashes of lies. Thank you, James whispered. Don't thank me yet. Sarah checked her phone. No signal. How far to your apartment? 5 minutes. Sarah's heart hammered against her ribs. 5 minutes until everything changed again. 5 minutes until she stopped being COO and remembered she was a surgeon who'd sworn an oath first, do no harm. But sometimes, Sarah thought grimly protecting the innocent required harming those who'd chosen violence. Sometimes the scalpel had to become a weapon. The Honda raced through Seattle's night streets carrying 2 broken people toward a fight they couldn't win. But they'd fight anyway. Because that's what you did when children's lives hung in the balance. You fought. James's apartment building looked ordinary. Brick facade, rusted fire escape, the kind of place where you minded your own business and didn't ask questions about your neighbors. Sarah saw the surveillance van, immediately white panel truck tinted windows, parked 30 feet from the entrance with a perfect sight line to the 3rd floor. There, she said quietly. I see it. James drove past without slowing, turned the corner, parked 2 blocks away. His hands shook on the steering wheel. They're already here. How do you know it's them and not police surveillance? Police would have backup units. This is a kill team waiting for confirmation. James pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen. Texting my handler. Even if he can't mobilize in time, at least there's a record. Sarah watched the phone screen. Message sent. No response. He's not answering. It's midnight. He's probably asleep. James pocketed the phone, grabbed the Glock from Sarah's lap. New plan. I go in through the fire escape. You drive to the nearest police station, tell them federal agent needs immediate backup at this address. And leave you alone against a kill team. Yes. No. Sarah opened her door. Your fire escape is visible from the street. The moment you start climbing, they'll see you. You need a distraction. Sarah. I'll knock on the front door. Tell them I'm looking for apartment 3C because my friend said she lived there. Tourist act. Confused, lost apologetic. Sarah's voice steadied as the plan crystallized. That gets their attention on the entrance while you go up the fire escape. They'll kill you. They'll question me first. Try to determine if I'm actually lost or if I'm law enforcement. Sarah checked her watch. That gives you maybe 90 seconds. Think you can get Maya out in 90 seconds? James stared at her like she'd grown a second head. You're volunteering to knock on a kill team's door. I'm volunteering to save your daughter. Sarah met his eyes. You lied to me about everything, but Maya didn't lie. Maya is innocent, and I won't let her die because we're too scared to act. This is insane. You have a better idea. Silence. The kind that meant no, he didn't. 90 seconds, James finally said. After that, I'm coming back for you whether Maya's safe or not. After 90 seconds, you're getting your daughter to safety and calling your handler. Sarah climbed out of the car. Don't die, James. Maya's already lost one parent. She closed the door before he could respond and walked toward the apartment building with her heart trying to escape through her throat. The surveillance van's engine was running. She could hear it humming as she passed, could feel eyes tracking her through tinted windows. Sarah kept her pace steady, unhurried, pulled out her phone, and pretended to check directions like every confused tourist in America. She reached the building entrance. Pressed the buzzer for apartment 3C. Nothing. She pressed it again longer this time, added a frustrated sigh for effect. The intercom crackled. Yes. Male voice, Russian accent, annoyed. Oh, thank God. Sarah injected maximum relief into her voice. Hi, I'm looking for Jennifer Martinez. She said she lives in 3C, but maybe I wrote down the wrong address and I've been walking around for like 20 minutes. Wrong building. Are you sure? Because she definitely said 3C and this is... Wrong building. Go away. The intercom cut off. Sarah pressed the buzzer again. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession, like an annoying drunk who wouldn't take no for an answer. The intercom crackled again. I said, I know what you said, but Jennifer definitely told me 3C, and I drove 2 hours to see her, and my phone's dead, so I can't call, and... Sarah let her voice rise into panicked rambling. Please, can you just check if there's a Jennifer Martinez in this building? Please. 30 seconds gone. James would be at the fire escape by now. The building's front door buzzed open. Sarah's stomach dropped. This was actually happening. She pushed through into a narrow hallway that smelled like mildew and cigarette smoke. Stairs ahead. Elevator to the right broke an out-of-order sign taped across the doors. Footsteps descended from above. Heavy, unhurried. A man appeared on the second-floor landing. Late 30s, built like a concrete wall, wearing casual clothes that didn't hide the shoulder holster bulge. Cold eyes that saw through Sarah's tourist act immediately. You are not lost, he said. What? You are not tourist. You are not looking for friend. He descended another step. You are distraction. Sarah's hand tightened on her phone. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to find... The man pulled his gun. Hands where I can see them. Now. 60 seconds gone. Sarah raised her hands slowly. Please, I don't want any trouble. I'm just... quiet. The man spoke into a radio clipped to his collar. Front entrance compromised. Female Asian 40s possible federal agent. Check the perimeter. Radio static. A response in Russian. The man's eyes widened. Fire escape. He is on the fire escape." He turned, gun swinging away from Sarah toward the stairs. Sarah didn't think. Her body moved on pure instinct, 5 years of buried trauma, surgeon reflexes taking control. She grabbed the out-of-order sign from the elevator, swung it like a baseball bat, caught the man across the temple. He staggered. The gun fired, deafening in the enclosed space, bullet punching through the ceiling. Sarah swung again. The metal sign connected with a sound like a hammer hitting meat. The man went down hard. She'd just assaulted someone, possibly killed someone. Sarah stared at her shaking hands, at the dented sign, at the blood spreading across the floor. Then she heard it. Gunfire. From above. Maya. Sarah ran for the stairs. Her administrative heels weren't made for running, but she kicked them off, took the steps 2 at a time in stockinged feet. 2nd floor, 3rd floor. The door to 3C hung open, splintered around the lock. More gunfire. Inside the apartment. Sarah pressed herself against the wall beside the doorframe, mind racing. She had no weapon, no training for this. She was a hospital administrator who'd just brained someone with a sign, and now she was about to enter an active firefight. This was how people died in movies. But inside that apartment, a 10-year-old girl was in danger. Sarah took a breath and looked around the doorframe. The apartment was small. Living room, kitchenette, 2 doors leading to bedrooms. James crouched behind a couch that was rapidly disintegrating under automatic weapon fire. 2 men in tactical gear advanced from the kitchen, firing controlled bursts. No sign of Maya. Sarah spotted a fire extinguisher mounted on the hallway wall. She grabbed it, twisted the pin, and threw it through the doorway like a grenade. It hit the floor, rolled, and James understood immediately. He shot the extinguisher. It exploded in a cloud of white powder, filling the apartment with choking fog. "Maya, run!" James's voice cut through the chaos. A door burst open. Maya appeared, small and terrified, wearing pajamas covered in cartoon stars. A babysitter stumbled behind her, college-age girl bleeding from a cut on her forehead, screaming. Sarah lunged into the apartment, grabbed both of them, hauled them toward the hallway as bullets chewed through the walls inches from her head. "Go, go, go!" James fired blind into the fog covering their retreat. They hit the hallway running. Maya was crying, the babysitter was hyperventilating, and Sarah's surgeon brain noted absently that she was probably going into shock. Behind them, men shouted in Russian. Boots pounded. "Fire escape!" Sarah gasped, dragging them toward the end of the hall. The window was already open, James's entry point. She shoved Maya through first, then the babysitter. James burst from the apartment, slammed the door, and wedged a chair under the handle. "That'll hold them for 3 seconds. Then move faster." Sarah climbed through the window onto the fire escape, metal grating cold under her feet. Maya clung to the railing, frozen with fear. "Sweetie, I need you to climb down. Can you do that?" "I'm scared." "I know. But your dad's right behind us and we need to go now." The apartment door splintered. Boots, shouting. Maya climbed. Sarah followed, one hand on the girl's back, the other gripping the babysitter's arm. James came last, gun pointed up at the window. A man appeared in the opening. James fired. The man jerked back, disappeared. They reached the 2nd floor landing. The fire escape ladder should extend to the ground, but it was rusted, wouldn't budge. "Jump," James ordered. "It's 10 feet. Jump and run." The babysitter jumped first, landed badly, screamed. "Maya!" James holstered his gun, grabbed his daughter's face between his hands. "Remember when we practiced falling in judo class just like that? Roll when you land." "Daddy, I'll be right behind you. I promise." Maya jumped, landed, rolled. She was crying, but she was moving. Sarah jumped next, felt her ankle twist on landing, ignored the pain. She grabbed Maya's hand. "Where's the car?" "2 blocks that way." Gunfire erupted from above. James returned fire, descending the ladder one-handed. "Run! Don't wait for me!" Sarah ran, dragging Maya and the injured babysitter. Her ankle screamed. Maya was sobbing. Behind them, more gunfire, men shouting, sirens finally starting to wail in the distance. They rounded the corner. James's Honda sat where they'd left it, ordinary and impossible, and the only salvation in sight. Sarah dug in James's pockets. She'd grabbed his jacket when they fled, found the keys, unlocked the doors, shoved Maya and the babysitter into the back seat. Seatbelts, now! James appeared at the corner, sprinting, flat-out gun still in hand. Behind him, 2 men in tactical gear rounded the building. Sarah started the car, threw it in drive. James! He dove into the passenger seat, and Sarah punched the accelerator before his door was closed. The Honda fishtailed tires screaming, and bullets punched through the rear windshield. Maya screamed. Sarah yanked the wheel left then right, serpentining through the empty street. Another bullet hit the trunk. The babysitter was screaming now, 2 hands over her head. Hold on. Sarah took a corner at 40, felt the Honda's suspension protest. She'd driven ambulances in war zones, but never in a car chase, never with a child in the back seat. James twisted in his seat gun, aimed through the shattered rear window. They're following. Black SUV. Sarah could see it in the rearview mirror, gaining fast. Professional drivers. Professional killers. We can't outrun them, she said. I know. James's voice was eerily calm. Take the next right, then left, then straight for 3 blocks. Why? Police precinct. We drive straight into their parking lot and don't stop until we're surrounded by cops. It was a terrible plan. It was their only plan. Sarah took the right. The SUV stayed on them closer now. 50 feet. 40. She took the left. A bullet took out the driver's side mirror. 3 blocks, James said. 2. Maya was curled in the back seat, hands over her ears, and Sarah thought about how many times she'd treated traumatized children in field hospitals. How many times she'd held their hands while they screamed for parents who weren't coming back. Not tonight. Tonight, this child survived. 1 block. The police precinct appeared ahead, concrete building, American flag parking lot full of squad cars. Sarah aimed for the center of the lot and didn't slow down. The Honda jumped the curb, bounced across grass, and slammed to a stop between 2 police cruisers. The SUV screeched to a halt at the lot entrance. Didn't follow. Couldn't follow. James was already out of the car, badge in hand, shouting, "Federal agent officer needs assistance. Active shooter situation." Police poured from the building, weapons drawn, and suddenly Sarah and James and Maya and the terrified babysitter were surrounded by uniforms and questions and safety. The SUV reversed, disappeared into the night. Sarah's hands wouldn't stop shaking on the steering wheel. "Ma'am?" A female officer appeared at her window. "Ma'am, I need you to turn off the engine. You're safe now." Safe. The word didn't make sense. Sarah turned off the car, and her hands were still shaking, and Maya was crying, and the babysitter was bleeding, and James was talking rapid fire to a detective, and none of it felt real. Someone opened her door, helped her out. She couldn't feel her twisted ankle anymore. Couldn't feel anything except the adrenaline crash hitting like a freight train. "I need a medic," the female officer called. "We've got injured civilians." Medics. Civilians. Sarah almost laughed. She'd been a combat surgeon. She was the medic. But when they guided her to sit on the precinct steps, when they checked her ankle and wrapped it and asked if she needed to go to the hospital, Sarah let them. Because she couldn't be strong anymore. Couldn't be the woman who made plans and brained Russian contractors with signs and drove through gunfire. She was just Sarah Chen, and she was very tired. "Mom." Maya's voice small and scared. Sarah looked up. Maya stood a few feet away, wrapped in a shock blanket that dragged on the ground. She wasn't asking for her dead mother. She was asking Sarah. "Come here, sweetheart." Sarah opened her arms. Maya collapsed into them, sobbing, and Sarah held her and rocked her and hummed the same song she used to hum for pediatric patients who couldn't sleep. No words, just comfort. James appeared, kneeling in front of them, still talking into his phone, but his eyes locked on his daughter. "Yes, sir. 3 civilian casualties, One federal agent requesting immediate protective custody, and Maya. He lowered the phone. Baby, are you hurt? I want to go home, Maya whispered. I know. Soon. I want Mom. James's face crumpled. I know, baby. Me too. Sarah kept holding Maya, kept humming, and met James's eyes over the girl's head. Questions hung unspoken between them. What now? Where do we go? How do we survive this? But Maya was alive. The babysitter would recover. Sarah's ankle would heal. They'd survived. Mr. Reeves. A new voice. Older man, gray suit. The bearing of someone who'd spent decades in authority. I'm Deputy Director Morrison, ATF. We need to debrief. James stood slowly. Sir. My daughter. Will be taken to a secure location immediately. You, Dr. Chen, and Miss... He glanced at the babysitter, who was being loaded into an ambulance. Rodriguez will be debriefed separately. The safe house in Tacoma is compromised. We're moving you to a federal facility in Portland. Portland's 2 hours away, Sarah said. Maya needs rest, therapy, not more running. Morrison's expression didn't change. Dr. Chen, you're currently a material witness in a federal investigation involving international arms trafficking, attempted kidnapping, and multiple homicides. You'll be debriefed when and where we determine it's safe. That's not negotiable. Sarah wanted to argue, wanted to tell this bureaucrat exactly where he could shove his jurisdiction. But she was so tired. 2 hours, she said. Then I'm done. I give my statement, I turn over Caldwell's research, and I go back to my life. Morrison exchanged a glance with James. Something passed between them that Sarah didn't understand. We'll discuss that after debriefing, Morrison said. Which wasn't an agreement, which was in fact a refusal phrased as a delay. Sarah's exhaustion crystallized into anger. I'm not one of your agents. You can't just keep me locked up indefinitely. I can if it keeps you alive. Morrison signaled to 2 agents standing nearby. Get them in separate vehicles. Move out in 5 minutes. James reached for Maya, but Morrison stepped between them. Your daughter travels with protective detail. You travel with Dr. Chen, non-negotiable. She's 10 years old. She just lived through a firefight. Which is why she needs professional protection, not a father who's emotionally compromised. Morrison's voice softened fractionally. James, you know the protocols. Families of deep cover agents get specialized care. Maya will have child psychologist security, everything she needs. But you need to do your job. James looked at Maya, at Sarah, at the police precinct where his cover life had just exploded into federal jurisdiction. Fine, he said quietly. But I see her every day. That's my condition. Agreed. Morrison turned to Sarah. Dr. Chen, do you need medical attention before transport? My ankle's sprained, not broken. I'll live. Then let's move. They were separated immediately. Maya went with 2 female agents who seemed kind enough. The babysitter went in the ambulance. James was escorted to a black SUV, Sarah to another. She climbed in her twisted ankle throbbing and watched through the window as James tried to reassure his terrified daughter one last time before they pulled her away. Sarah thought about Emma, about the photograph on James's dashboard, about how many people in his life had died because of the work he did. She thought about her mother wasting away in a hospital bed begging Sarah to give up trauma surgery because watching her daughter come home bloody was killing her faster than the cancer. She thought about Dr. Caldwell dead in a car accident that wasn't an accident. Ma'am. The driver glanced back at her. Seatbelt, please. Sarah buckled in. The SUV pulled away from the precinct, merged into late-night traffic, and headed south toward Portland. Toward debriefing. Toward federal custody. Toward a future Sarah hadn't chosen, but couldn't escape. She pulled out her phone miraculously intact, despite everything, and stared at the screen. Missed calls from Marcus, from board members, from the hospital's legal team. Her career was over. Even if Morrison let her go, Even if she survived whatever came next, Sterling Medical Center wouldn't take her back. COOs didn't flee crime scenes and get into gunfights and become material witnesses in international arms trafficking cases. Sarah deleted the missed calls and opened her email. Found the encrypted files Caldwell had sent her 3 weeks ago. Project Lazarus. Regenerative tissue research that could save thousands of lives or create super soldiers depending on who controlled it. She'd thought she was doing something good, something revolutionary. Instead, she'd painted a target on her back and dragged a 10-year-old girl into a war zone. Dr. Chen. The driver again. We've got a tail. Black sedan, 2 cars back. Sarah's exhaustion vanished. Same contractors. Unknown. Agent Reeves's vehicle is reporting the same. We're going to take evasive action. The SUV accelerated, merged right, took an exit at the last second. The black sedan followed. Confirmed hostile, the driver said into his radio. Requesting backup, route Echo 7 heading toward. The sedan rammed them from behind. Sarah's head snapped forward, seatbelt catching, and suddenly they were spinning. The driver fought the wheel, got control, accelerated again. Hold on! The sedan rammed them again, harder this time, and the SUV's rear tires lost traction. They fishtailed across 2 lanes, horns blaring, and Sarah saw the concrete barrier coming too fast, too close. No time to impact. The world exploded into noise and pain and breaking glass. Then silence. Sarah hung sideways in her seatbelt, ears ringing, tasting blood. The driver was slumped over the airbag, unconscious. Outside, footsteps approached. She fumbled with the seatbelt release. Couldn't get it. The mechanism was jammed. Her door opened. A man reached in. Russian accent. Dr. Chen, finally. You've caused us considerable difficulty. Sarah clawed at the seatbelt, at his hands, at anything. He pulled out a syringe. This will be easier if you don't fight. She fought anyway, kicked, screamed, connected with something soft, and heard him grunt. But there were 2 of them now holding her down, and the needle bit into her neck, and Sarah's vision blurred, and the last thing she heard was someone saying, "Alive, the boss wants her alive." Then, darkness. Sarah woke to the smell of rust and mildew. Her head felt like someone had packed it with cotton, and her neck burned where the needle had punctured skin. She tried to move, and discovered her wrists were zip-tied to a metal chair. The room was concrete, empty except for the chair and a single bulb hanging from the ceiling. No windows. 1 door. The kind of place where people disappeared. Sarah's medical training kicked in through the fog of whatever they'd injected her with. Assess injuries. Wrists rubbed raw, but no bleeding. Ankle still throbbing from the earlier sprain. Head injury, possible concussion symptoms included nausea, and she definitely felt nauseous. But conscious. Aware. Alive. That last part felt temporary. The door opened. The Russian from the car entered, followed by an older man in an expensive suit. The older man studied Sarah with the detached interest of someone examining a lab specimen. Dr. Chen, I apologize for the crude extraction methods. My associates lack finesse. His English carried a British accent, polished and cold. My name is Dmitry Volkov. You've been quite troublesome. Sarah said nothing. Her throat was too dry anyway. The research Dr. Caldwell provided you, Project Lazarus. Where is it? I don't know what you're talking about. Volkov sighed like a disappointed teacher. Dr. Chen, please don't insult both our intelligences. Caldwell sent you encrypted files 3 weeks ago. You accessed them from your office computer. We have digital forensics confirming the transfer. Sarah's mind raced. If they had digital forensics, they could have stolen the files remotely. They didn't need her, which meant they wanted something else. The files were encrypted, Sarah said slowly. I couldn't open them. Another lie. Caldwell included the decryption key in his initial email. You accessed the research 5 days before his death. 5 days. Sarah remembered that night. She'd stayed late at the office, locked her door, and read through Caldwell's research with growing horror. Regenerative tissue protocols that could heal catastrophic injuries in hours instead of months. Combat applications. Enhancement possibilities. The kind of breakthrough that won Nobel Prizes or started wars depending on who controlled it. She'd backed up the files to 3 separate drives. One at her office, one at her home, one in a safe deposit box at her bank. "I deleted everything," Sarah said. "After Caldwell died, I realized it was too dangerous." Volkov nodded to the Russian, who stepped forward and slapped Sarah across the face, hard enough to make her ears ring. "Wrong answer," Volkov said. "Try again." Sarah tasted blood. "I deleted it. I don't have it anymore." Another slap. This one split her lip. "Dr. Chen, I can do this for hours. Or you can save us both considerable unpleasantness and tell me where the research is located. Your office? Your home? A secure facility." Sarah spat blood onto the concrete floor. "Even if I had it, why would I give it to you? So you can create super soldiers for the highest bidder. So I can ensure my clients receive what they paid for." Volkov pulled out his phone, showed her a photograph. "Do you recognize this building?" Sarah's stomach dropped. Sterling Medical Center, her hospital. 3,700 employees, Volkov continued. 400 patients currently admitted. Pediatric Wing Cancer Treatment Center maternity ward. So many lives concentrated in one location. "You're threatening a hospital." "I'm explaining consequences." Volkov pocketed his phone. "The research, Dr. Chen. Tell me where it is, or I make one phone call and Sterling Medical Center experiences a catastrophic gas leak. Tragic accident. Hundreds dead, including, I believe, several colleagues you've worked with for over a decade." Sarah's vision blurred with rage and terror. "You're a monster." "I'm a businessman. This is simply negotiation." Volkov checked his watch. "You have 2 minutes to decide. The research or the hospital. Choose." Sarah's mind spun. The safe deposit box, they couldn't access it without her. But if she told them, they'd kill her anyway. She had no leverage. No options. Unless... "The research is in my office," Sarah said. "Encrypted drive hidden in my desk. Bottom drawer, false bottom compartment." Volkov studied her face. "You're lying." "I'm not. I couldn't bring myself to destroy it completely, so I hid it. Insurance policy." "Against what?" "Against exactly this situation." Sarah met his eyes. "You want the research, you let me go. I'm not suicidal. I'll cooperate." Volkov considered this, then nodded to the Russian. "Verify her claim. Call our contact at Sterling Medical. Have them search her office." The Russian stepped out, phone already to his ear. "Smart," Volkov said. "Self-preservation is rational. Though I'm disappointed in your ethics. Caldwell believed you'd use his research to save lives." Caldwell was naive. Perhaps. But he was also correct about the research's potential. Do you know what Project Lazarus could do for humanity? Soldiers who heal from injuries that would cripple normal men. First responders who could survive building collapses. Accident victims who walk away from crashes that should have killed them. And dictators who become nearly immortal, Sarah said. Terrorists who can't be stopped. You're not selling miracles, you're selling nightmares. "I'm selling evolution." Volkov's smile didn't reach his eyes. Humanity has always enhanced itself. Tools, weapons, medicine. This is simply the next step. The Russian returned. "Office is clean. No hidden drives. She's lying." Volkov's expression didn't change, but something cold entered his eyes. "Dr. Chen, you've exhausted my patience." "Wait, it's at my home. I moved it after Caldwell died. I was paranoid about office security." "Liar." Volkov nodded to the Russian. "Make the call." "No, please." Sarah lunged against the zip ties, felt them bite into her wrists. "I'm telling the truth. My home office behind the bookshelf, there's a wall safe." "Stop talking." Volkov's phone rang. He answered, listened, then looked at Sarah with something like respect. Interesting. My people just discovered that your home was raided by federal agents 2 hours ago. They seized multiple items including computer equipment and several encrypted drives. Sarah's breath caught. James. He'd told Morrison about the research, and Morrison had moved immediately. So the research is now in federal custody, Volkov continued, which presents complications, but also opportunities. He pulled out a syringe, filled it from a small vial. This is a modified version of Dr. Caldwell's regenerative serum. Early prototype. Untested on humans. The effects are unpredictable, but you'll serve as an excellent clinical trial. What? No, Sarah thrashed against the restraints. You said you needed me alive. I need you compliant. Volkov grabbed her arm, found a vein with practiced efficiency. This will ensure cooperation. The serum bonds to your neural pathways, makes you extremely suggestible. You'll tell me everything you know about Project Lazarus, including details Caldwell might have shared verbally that weren't in the digital files. The needle entered her arm. Sarah screamed. Fire spread through her veins. Her nervous system lit up like someone had poured gasoline on it and struck a match. Every nerve ending, every synapse, every cell in her body simultaneously screamed. Then the pain stopped. Sarah gasped for air, vision clearing, and realized something was wrong. Very wrong. The zip ties on her wrists, she could see the plastic molecules, see the chemical bonds holding them together. She could see her own heartbeat pulsing through capillaries. Could see Volkov's pupils dilating with what her enhanced perception recognized as anticipation and curiosity. Fascinating, Volkov breathed. Your neural activity just increased by 300%. Can you hear me, Dr. Chen? Sarah heard him. Heard his heartbeat too. Heard the Russian breathing in the corner. Heard traffic from streets that must be blocks away. The sensory overload was crushing. What did you do to me? Accelerated your evolution. Volkov stepped closer. Tell me about Project Lazarus. Tell me everything Caldwell shared. And Sarah felt the compulsion. Felt her mouth opening to comply, to betray every secret she'd sworn to protect. She bit her tongue hard enough to draw blood. Used the pain to anchor herself. No. Volkov frowned. You should be completely compliant. The serum's effects are wearing off. Sarah could feel it. The enhanced perception fading. The compulsion weakening. Her body was metabolizing the serum faster than it should be possible, which meant either Volkov had miscalculated the dosage, or Sarah's biology was rejecting the modification, or Project Lazarus was working exactly as designed, healing the damage the serum caused as fast as it occurred. Impossible, Volkov muttered. He filled another syringe. A second dose should... The door exploded inward. James Reeves came through the opening like a force of nature, gun raised, and put 2 rounds into the Russian before the man could draw his weapon. The Russian dropped. Volkov grabbed Sarah, used her body as a shield. Agent Reeves, I wondered when you'd arrive. Let her go. Or what you shoot through Dr. Chen to reach me. Volkov's hand pressed something cold against Sarah's neck. Knife. I think not. James's gun never wavered. You're assuming I care about her. You drove through a kill team to save your daughter. Of course you care. Volkov backed toward the far corner, dragging Sarah with him. But I'm curious. How did you find us? We took extensive counter-surveillance measures. You took her phone. James's voice was flat. Rookie mistake. I've been tracking Dr. Chen since she left the hospital. Insurance policy. Sarah felt something in her pocket vibrate. Her phone, still there, still active. Volkov cursed in Russian. Let her go, James repeated. I've got 20 federal agents surrounding this building. You're not getting out. But if you release Dr. Chen unharmed, I'll ensure you survive long enough to see trial. Trial. Volkov laughed. I'll be extracted by my employers before you finish processing paperwork. But perhaps we can negotiate. Dr. Chen's life for safe passage to the border. Not how this works. Then we have a problem. The knife pressed harder. Sarah felt skin break, felt blood run warm down her neck, and felt something else. The serum wasn't wearing off, it was accelerating. Her perception sharpened again. Time seemed to slow. She could see James's trigger finger, see the micro adjustments he was making, see exactly where his bullet would go if he fired. She could see Volkov's grip on the knife, see the angle, see the split-second opening when he shifted his weight. Sarah's body moved before her conscious mind caught up. She twisted, dropped her weight, felt the knife slice through empty air where her throat had been. Her zip-tied hands came up, caught Volkov's wrist, and she heard bone crack under pressure that shouldn't be humanly possible. Volkov screamed, dropped the knife. James fired. The bullet took Volkov in the shoulder, spinning him away from Sarah. She stood there breathing hard, staring at her hands. The zip ties had snapped, broken like paper. Sarah. James approached carefully. Are you hurt? I don't know. Sarah looked at Volkov writhing on the floor, bleeding. Her hands had crushed his wrist bones. She'd felt them break. What's happening to me? What did he inject you with? He said it was Project Lazarus, early prototype. Sarah's voice shook. James, I can hear your heartbeat. I can see your pupils dilating. Everything is too much and I can't. James holstered his gun, grabbed her shoulders. Look at me. Just me. Focus. Sarah met his eyes, brown eyes, kind eyes despite everything they'd seen. Breathe, James said. Whatever the serum is doing, we'll figure it out. But right now we need to move. More contractors could be coming. How did you find me? I told you. I've been tracking your phone since the gala. James pulled out his own phone, showed her a tracking app. When your SUV crashed, I was 3 minutes behind. Watched them take you. Called Morrison. He wanted to wait for tactical teams, but You came alone. I came immediately. James helped her stand. Can you walk? Sarah tested her ankle. The sprain that should have made walking agony felt like a minor irritation. Yes, better than I should be able to. Then let's go. They stepped over the Russian's body. Sarah tried not to look at the blood. Failed. Is he dead? Yes. James's voice carried no emotion. He would have killed us both. I don't lose sleep over people like him. They emerged into a warehouse, empty except for shipping containers and the smell of salt water. Seattle's port district. Isolated. Perfect for interrogations and body disposal. James led her to a side door, checked outside, then pulled her into the night. His car sat 50 feet away, nondescript sedan engine running. Get in, driver's side. If I'm hit, you drive straight to the nearest police station. James. Get in the car, Sarah. She got in. James slid into the passenger seat, and they were moving before he'd closed the door. Sarah drove, hands shaking on the wheel, while James made phone calls. Morrison, I've got her. Volkov's down but alive. Send ambulances and cleanup crew to... He rattled off an address. And sir, we have a major problem. Volkov injected Dr. Chen with what he claimed was a Lazarus prototype. She's exhibiting enhanced strength and perception. We need immediate medical evaluation. Sarah barely heard him. She was watching traffic lights change blocks away, counting the heartbeats of passengers in other cars. Her senses were going haywire. Sarah, you need to slow down. She looked at the speedometer. 70 in a 40 zone. She hadn't even realized. Sorry. She eased off the accelerator. Everything feels fast, like the world is moving through molasses, and I'm normal speed. That's the serum. It's accelerating your neural processing. James's voice was gentle. Morrison's sending us to a secure medical facility. They have experience with experimental biochemistry. They'll know how to stabilize you. What if they can't? What if this is permanent? Then we'll adapt, but let's not borrow trouble. Sarah wanted to believe him, but she could hear his heartbeat accelerating, see the micro expressions that revealed his fear. He thought she was dying. Maybe she was. They drove in silence for several minutes. Then Sarah asked the question that had been eating at her since the warehouse. Maya, is she safe? Protected in a federal facility. Child services psychologist is with her. She's asking for you. For me. You saved her life tonight, twice. In her mind, you're family now. James stared out the window. I never wanted this for her. Never wanted her exposed to my work. But I couldn't figure out how to be both a good father and a good agent. You can't be both, Sarah said quietly. I know. I watched my mother die while I was overseas doing trauma surgery in places I can't even name. Came home for her funeral on emergency leave. 3 days. Then back to save strangers while my family grieved alone. She gripped the steering wheel tighter. That's why I quit. Why I became an administrator. I couldn't keep choosing between duty and family. But you came back tonight. For Maya. Maya's innocent. She deserves better than being collateral damage in adult wars. So do you, James said. Sarah didn't answer, because what could she say that she'd made her choice when she accepted Caldwell's research, that she'd painted the target on her own back? Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Bank records show safe deposit box access 3 weeks ago. What's in the box? Dr. Chen. Her blood froze. James. They know about the safe deposit box. He grabbed her phone, read the message, cursed. That's not from Volkov. Different number, different phrasing. There's another player. Who? I don't know, but if they're tracking your bank records, they have serious resources. James made another call. Morrison, we've got a leak. Someone outside Volkov's organization just texted Dr. Chen about her safe deposit box. I'm sending you the number now. We need it traced immediately. He hung up, looked at Sarah. What's in the box? The original research, all of it, unencrypted. James closed his eyes. Please tell me you're joking. I needed insurance. If Volkov's people found the encrypted versions, I wanted leverage, something to bargain with. You've been sitting on a bioweapon blueprint this entire time. It's not a weapon, Sarah snapped. It's medical research that could save millions of lives. Which can also create super soldiers, which makes it a weapon. James rubbed his face. Okay. Where's the bank? Seattle First National, downtown branch. But it's midnight. Banks are closed. Then we wait until morning, and we get that research into federal custody before whoever just texted you gets there first. James's phone rang. He answered, listened, and his face went pale. Are you certain? Run it again. Check for yes, sir. Understood. He hung up slowly. What? Sarah demanded. Morrison traced the text. It came from inside ATF headquarters. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Someone inside your agency is working with the contractors, Sarah said. Yes, which means we can't trust anyone. Can't go to the safe house. Can't rely on federal protection. James looked at her. We're on our own until Morrison can identify the mole. What about Maya? She's in a different facility. Separate security. If the mole doesn't know where she is, she's safer there than with us. But his voice cracked. I should go to her. Make sure. They'll use her to draw you out. Sarah interrupted. You know that. You're a trained agent. You know the protocols. She's my daughter. And she needs you alive. Sarah pulled into a parking garage, found a dark corner, killed the engine. We wait until morning. Get the research from the bank. Turn it over to Morrison directly. Then we end this. James stared at his phone, at a photo of Maya, gap-toothed and smiling. I promised Catherine I'd keep her safe, he whispered. My wife, before she died. She made me promise Maya would never be exposed to this life. You kept that promise for 10 years. Until tonight. Until I dragged her into a firefight because I couldn't separate work from family. James's hands shook. What kind of father does that? Sarah thought about her mother, about the promises she'd broken, about the calls she'd missed because she was too busy saving strangers. "The kind who's human," Sarah said. "The kind who makes mistakes. The kind who keeps fighting anyway." She reached over, took his hand. "Maya knows you love her. I saw it in her face. That matters more than perfect safety." "Does it? Catherine died in the line of duty. Maya lost her mother because we both chose this work over family. And now," his voice broke, "now I'm losing her the same way." "You're not losing anyone. We're going to fix this." Sarah squeezed his hand. "I don't know how yet, but we will." They sat in the dark parking garage, two broken people holding hands like drowning swimmers clinging to wreckage. Sarah's enhanced senses were fading again, the serum metabolizing. Soon she'd be normal, ordinary. Just a hospital administrator who'd made catastrophically bad decisions. But for now, in this moment, she could hear James's heartbeat slowing, could see the tension leaving his shoulders, could feel something fragile beginning to form between them. Not trust, exactly, but the possibility of trust. Her phone buzzed again. Another text from the unknown number, "You have until sunrise." "Then I take what's mine." 8 hours, James said. "We've got 8 hours to figure out who's betraying us and how to stop them." Sarah looked at the message, at the threat, at the countdown to something terrible. "Then we'd better get started," she said. They found a 24-hour diner 3 blocks from the parking garage. The kind of place where truckers stopped for coffee at 3 in the morning and nobody asked questions about the woman with dried blood on her collar or the man with a gun bulge under his jacket. Sarah slid into a corner booth while James ordered coffee and whatever passed for food at this hour. Her hands still trembled. The serum's effects had mostly faded, but phantom sensations lingered. She kept hearing heartbeats that weren't there, seeing details her normal vision shouldn't catch. 2 coffees, scrambled eggs, toast. James set the plates down. "You need to eat. Your body's been through hell." "I'm not hungry." "Eat anyway. We've got 6 hours until the bank opens, and you're no good to anyone if you collapse." Sarah picked up her fork because he was right, and she hated it. The eggs tasted like cardboard, but she forced them down. James pulled out his phone, typed rapidly. "I'm texting Morrison a list of everyone who knew about your safe deposit box. We narrow down the mole, we end this." "How many people knew?" "Yumi Morrison and whoever Morrison briefed. Maybe 5 people total." James's jaw tightened. "One of them is selling us out. Or someone hacked ATF communications. Also possible. But that text came from inside headquarters. Someone physically there sent it." He showed her his phone screen. "Morrison's running digital forensics now, checking who accessed what files when from which terminals." Sarah sipped her coffee. It was terrible and perfect. What happens if we can't identify the mole before sunrise? "We go to the bank anyway, get the research, turn it over to Morrison in person. No electronic communication, no intermediaries." "And if the mole is Morrison?" James went very still. "He's not." "How do you know?" "Because I've worked with him for 8 years. Because he's the most honest man I've ever met. Because he saved my life in Baltimore when a cartel hit team ambushed our convoy and he—" James stopped, took a breath. "He's not the mole." Sarah wanted to believe him. But she'd believed David Mitchell was a grieving janitor for 6 months, and that had been a lie too. "Everyone's trustworthy until they're not," she said quietly. "That's a cynical worldview. That's what tonight taught me." Sarah met his eyes. "You lied about everything. Your name, your job, your daughter's age. Emma never existed. How do I know James Reeves is even real? How do I know this isn't another layer of cover?" James flinched like she'd slapped him. "Emma was real. Catherine was real. Everything I told you about losing them was true. I just changed the timeline and some details to protect my cover." "Details like what?" "Like Emma died at 7, not 5. Like Catherine was killed by a cartel enforcer, not cancer. Like the grief that keeps me awake at 3 in the morning is real, even if the circumstances I described weren't." His voice cracked. "I'm not good at this job, Sarah. The lying, the compartmentalization. Every time I tell someone about my dead wife and daughter as part of a cover story, I feel like I'm killing them again. Sarah saw the truth in his face, the pain that couldn't be faked. "I'm sorry," she said. "Don't be. You're right to question everything. That's smart." James pushed his eggs around his plate without eating. "Catherine would have liked you. She hated the lying too. Used to say we joined federal law enforcement to protect people, not become professional deceivers." "Why did she join?" "Her brother was killed in a gang shooting. Wrong place, wrong time. 16 years old. After that, Catherine couldn't do anything else." James smiled sadly. "She was fierce, dedicated, terrible at cooking. Maya inherited her stubbornness and her terrible cooking." "How old was Maya when Catherine died?" 5. Too young to fully understand, old enough to remember fragments. Sometimes she talks about her mom like Catherine's just on a long trip, like she'll come back someday. Sarah's throat tightened. "That's heartbreaking." "That's survival. Kids are resilient. They build protective fantasies." James finally met her eyes again. "I'm terrified I'm failing her. That I'm so broken I'm breaking her too." "You're not. Maya's a good kid, smart, brave. That doesn't happen by accident. She jumped off a second-story fire escape tonight without hesitation because I told her to. That's not bravery. That's learned survival instinct. That's a child who's been trained to trust her father in crisis situations because crisis is normal for us." James's voice turned bitter. "What kind of childhood is that?" Sarah thought about her own childhood, her parents fighting about her mother's cancer treatment, about whether they could afford the good hospital versus the mediocre one, about whether Sarah should abandon medical school to help with bills. "All childhoods have damage," Sarah said. "The question is whether you give them tools to heal or pretend the damage doesn't exist. You're giving Maya tools. Am I, or am I just teaching her to run from men with guns? Sometimes that's the most important tool." James laughed despite himself. It was a broken sound, but genuine. "You're either very wise or very good at making me feel better about terrible parenting." "Both." Sarah finished her coffee. "What's the plan for Maya after this, assuming we survive? Assuming the mole is caught and the contractors are neutralized?" "Witness protection, probably. New names, new city. I'll request a desk job. Something safe. Normal hours. PTA meetings and soccer practice instead of undercover operations." "You'll hate it." "I'll love it," James corrected. "Because Maya will be there. That's all that matters." Sarah's phone buzzed. Text from Marcus, her assistant. "Where are you? Board is demanding answers. Hospital is in chaos. Call me." She should call him. Should try to salvage her career. But what could she say? "Sorry, Marcus. I've been kidnapped and injected with experimental biotechnology. I'll be back Monday." "You're going to lose your job," James said, reading her expression. "Already lost it, probably. No hospital keeps a COO who becomes the center of an international incident." Sarah set her phone down. 23 years in medicine. 10 years climbing from resident to administrator. Gone in one night. "I'm sorry." "Don't be. I chose this when I accepted Caldwell's research. I knew the risks." Sarah laughed bitterly. "Actually, no, I didn't know the risks. I thought I was helping a whistleblower expose military overreach. Turns out I was stealing bioweapon blueprints." "You didn't know what Project Lazarus was." "Didn't I? Caldwell told me it had military applications. Told me it was being suppressed. I chose to believe the noble interpretation instead of the obvious one." Sarah met James's eyes. "I wanted to be the hero of the story, the administrator who revolutionized trauma care. Instead, I'm the idiot who nearly gave regenerative super soldier serum to Russian arms dealers." "You're also the woman who saved my daughter twice in one night. That counts for something." "Does it? Because right now it feels like I'm just stumbling from crisis to crisis, making everything worse." James reached across the table, took her hand. "Welcome to federal law enforcement. That's the job description." Sarah almost smiled. Almost. Her phone buzzed again. This time an unknown number. The bank opens in 5 hours. I'll be waiting. Come alone, or Maya dies. The blood drained from Sarah's face. James? He read the message, went pale. That's a bluff. Maya's in a secure facility. They can't reach her. Are you certain? James pulled out his own phone, called someone. Morrison, I need confirmation that Maya's location is secure. Someone just threatened her directly, and what? When? His face went from pale to gray. How long ago? Why wasn't I notified immediately? Sarah's stomach dropped. James listened, jaw clenched, then hung up. Maya's facility was breached 30 minutes ago. 2 guards injured. Maya's missing. The diner spun around Sarah. Missing. They took her. Whoever sent that text has my daughter. James was already standing, throwing money on the table. Morrison's mobilizing tactical teams, but they want me at the bank in 5 hours or they kill her. Yes. Sarah stood on shaking legs. Then we go to the bank. It's a trap. Of course it's a trap, but what choice do we have? Sarah grabbed her jacket. They have Maya. We have the research. We trade. They'll kill us both the moment they have what they want. Probably. But maybe we buy enough time for Morrison to locate Maya. Maybe tactical teams arrive. Maybe... Sarah's voice broke. Maybe we get lucky. James stared at her. You'd die for my daughter. Why? Sarah thought about that. About her mother. About Caldwell. About all the choices that had led to this moment in a grimy diner at 3 a.m. Because someone should, she said simply. Someone should choose the child. Always. Even when it's stupid. Even when it's suicidal. Someone has to be the adult who stands between children and the people who'd hurt them. That's not your responsibility. Tonight it is. Sarah walked toward the door. Are you coming, or do I go alone? James followed, because what else could he do? They returned to the car. Dawn was still hours away, but the sky was beginning to lighten at the edges. That gray pre-morning darkness when the world held its breath. We need a plan, James said as he drove toward the bank. Something better than walk in and hope for the best. You're the federal agent. What do you suggest? Normally tactical team, snipers, negotiators, full federal response. James turned onto the highway. But we don't have time, and we can't trust anyone except Morrison, so we're improvising. Improvise faster. We've got 4 hours. James was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, The serum. How long do the effects last? I don't know. Why? Because if Volkov was telling the truth about it being Project Lazarus, then it gave you enhanced strength and perception. If we could trigger that again. Absolutely not. Sarah's voice turned sharp. I am not injecting myself with an experimental serum that might kill me. It might also save Maya. Or it might turn me into a vegetable. We don't know the side effects. Don't know the long-term damage. I'm a Dr. James. I understand exactly how reckless that would be. But you're considering it anyway. Sarah hated that he was right. She was considering it. Because enhanced strength might be the edge they needed. Because Maya's life was worth the risk. Where would we even get more serum? Sarah asked. Volkov had 1 vial, and it's back at the warehouse. Morrison's people are processing that crime scene now. If I call him, tell him it's urgent, then whoever's feeding information to the contractors knows we're planning something. Sarah shook her head. No, we go with what we have. Human speed, human strength, human intelligence. Against professional contractors who've already beaten federal agents and killed 17 people. Yes. We're going to die, James said flatly. Probably. But we'll die trying to save your daughter. That's better than dying for nothing. They drove in silence. Sarah watched the city lights blur past and thought about her mother's funeral. About standing in the rain while they lowered the casket. about wondering if her mother would have lived longer if Sarah had been there more, had prioritized family over patients she'd never see again. She thought about Maya, gap-toothed smile, cartoon star pajamas, 10 years old and already learning that the world was cruel and adults couldn't always protect you. "Tell me about her," Sarah said suddenly. "About Maya. Not as part of a cover story. The real her." James glanced over, surprised. "Why?" "Because if we're going to die trying to save her, I want to know who I'm dying for." James's expression softened. "She likes astronomy, can name every constellation, wants to be an astronaut when she grows up." "That's specific." "Catherine bought her a telescope for her 4th birthday. Maya's been obsessed ever since." James smiled at the memory. "She drew this picture once. Her and Catherine and me on the moon planting a flag. Crayons and construction paper. I still have it in my wallet." "Can I see?" James pulled over, took out his wallet, and unfolded a worn piece of construction paper. 3 stick figures on a crayon moon. 1 tall one, medium one small. A flag that said, "Reeves Family," in shaky child handwriting. Sarah's eyes burned. She was 4 when she drew this, 4.5, very specific about the half. James refolded the picture carefully. After Catherine died, Maya stopped drawing for almost a year. Then, suddenly, she started again. But all her pictures were just her and me. Never 3 figures. Never the moon. She's protecting herself. If she doesn't draw what she wants, she can't be disappointed when it doesn't come true. That's too cynical for a 10-year-old. That's survival for a 10-year-old who's lost a parent. Sarah handed the picture back. "James, whatever happens at the bank, promise me something." "What?" "If you have to choose between Maya and me, you choose Maya. Every time. No hesitation." "Sarah, promise me. Because I need to know that if I do something stupid to buy you time, you won't waste it trying to save me. You'll get your daughter and run." James's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "I can't promise that." "You have to." "Why?" "Because you've decided you're expendable. Because you think dying for Maya somehow atones for not being there when your mother needed you." James's voice turned harsh. "That's not noble, Sarah. That's suicide with extra steps." The words hit like a physical blow. "You don't know anything about my mother. I know she died 5 years ago from pancreatic cancer. I know you were in Syria doing trauma surgery when she was admitted to hospice. I know you made it home 3 days before she died and spent those 3 days watching her slip away while you blamed yourself for every moment you weren't there." James met her eyes. "I read your file too. Remember, I know about the grief, about the guilt, about the career change that was really grief management." Sarah's vision blurred. "My mother died alone because I chose strangers over family. I won't let Maya die alone because we chose wrong." "Your mother didn't die alone. Your father was there, your sister, hospice nurses who cared about her." James's voice gentled. "And Sarah, your mother made her own choices. She told you to go to Syria. She insisted you not come home early. She wanted you saving lives because that's who you are. That's who she raised you to be." "How do you know that?" "Because it's in your file. Her letters. She wrote to your commanding officer asking him to make sure you didn't abandon your post for her sake." James pulled the car over, turned to face her fully. "Your mother was proud of you. She died knowing her daughter was out there saving people who'd otherwise bleed out in war zones. That mattered to her more than having you hold her hand." Sarah couldn't breathe. She wrote letters. 6 of them, all saying the same thing. "Don't let Sarah come home. Don't let her waste her gift on my deathbed. Make sure she keeps saving people." James touched her hand. "You didn't fail her, Sarah. You honored her. And she'd be furious if she knew you were trying to die tonight because you think you owe some cosmic debt." The tears came then. Years of them. Sarah cried in the front seat of a sedan while dawn crept closer and Maya's life hung in the balance. James held her hand and didn't try to stop the tears or offer platitudes. Just sat with her in her grief until she could breathe again. "I'm still going to the bank," Sarah said, finally wiping her eyes. "Maya needs us." "I know, but you're not going to die there. We're both walking out alive. You, me, and Maya. That's the plan." "That's a terrible plan." "It's the only one we've got." James started the car again. "Morrison texted while you were crying. The mole accessed your safe deposit box records from an ATF terminal at 2:47 this morning. They're running security footage now." "That's good news. That's progress. We'll know who betrayed us before we walk into that bank." James pulled back onto the road. "Maybe that gives us an edge." Sarah doubted it, but she didn't say so. They drove through Seattle's empty pre-dawn streets, past coffee shops just opening, past early morning joggers and delivery trucks. Normal people living normal lives while Sarah and James raced toward violence. "What's Maya's favorite food?" Sarah asked suddenly. "Pancakes, with too much syrup. Catherine used to make them shaped like stars." James smiled. "Maya would eat them for every meal if I let her. We'll make her star pancakes when this is over." "Promise. Promise." Sarah looked at the lightening sky. "James, if something goes wrong—" "Nothing's going wrong. But if it does, tell Maya I'm sorry I couldn't save her mother. Tell her—" Sarah's voice caught. "Tell her she deserves the moon. Tell her to keep drawing it." "Tell her yourself." James's jaw set. "We're going to survive this. Both of us. That's not hope. That's determination." Sarah wished she felt that certain. They reached the bank 20 minutes before it opened. Already a car sat in the parking lot. Black sedan, tinted windows. "That's them," James said quietly. "How do you know?" "Process of elimination. Normal people don't camp outside banks before dawn." He parked 3 spaces away. Morrison texted again. "The mole's identity is confirmed. He's sending me a photo." James's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and his face went white. "What? Who is it?" James turned the phone so Sarah could see. The photo showed a woman, late 40s, professional, Asian features, ATF credentials identifying her as Deputy Director Lisa Chen. Sarah's world tilted. "Chen? That's my last name." "I know." James's voice was strange. "Sarah, do you have any family in federal law enforcement?" "No. My father's a retired accountant. My sister teaches high school. I don't—" Sarah stopped, stared at the photo, at features that were subtly familiar in a way that made her stomach drop. "My mother had a sister. They were estranged. I met her once at a family reunion when I was 8. She worked for the government, something classified." "What was her name?" "Lisa. Lisa Chen." Sarah's mouth went dry. "But she can't be. My mother said she died. Car accident. 20 years ago." "Your mother lied. Or Lisa faked her death." James was already typing on his phone. "Morrison, we have a major problem. The mole isn't just ATF. She's Dr. Chen's aunt. We need her full background immediately." He listened, face getting grimmer. "What?" Sarah demanded. "What is it?" James lowered the phone. "Lisa Chen didn't die 20 years ago. She went deep cover investigating Project Lazarus's original development. She's been inside the program since the beginning." "Inside how?" "She's one of the researchers, not just investigating, actually developing the serum." James met Sarah's eyes. "Sarah, your aunt isn't a mole selling secrets. She's the architect. Project Lazarus is her creation, and she wants it back." The black sedan's door opened. A woman stepped out. Professional suit, confident stride, features that were Sarah's own face aged 15 years. Lisa Chen smiled at them through the windshield. Behind her, the sedan's rear door opened. Maya stumbled out, hands zip-tied, face tear-stained but alive. Lisa held up a phone, typed something, and Sarah's phone buzzed. "Time's up. Bring me my research or I kill my grandniece." Sarah stared at the woman who wore her face. who shared her blood, who was threatening to murder a child. "That's my aunt," Sarah whispered. "That's our target," James corrected. The bank's lights flickered on. 6 a.m., opening time. Lisa gestured toward the entrance, an invitation, a threat. "Last chance to run," James said quietly. Sarah opened her car door. "Not a chance." They walked toward the woman who'd betrayed them all, toward the child who needed saving, toward a confrontation that would end in blood. The sky lightened. Dawn broke. And Sarah Chen walked into her family's darkness. Lisa Chen looked exactly like Sarah's mother. Same sharp cheekbones. Same way of tilting her head when studying someone. The resemblance was so precise, it felt like seeing a ghost. "Hello, Sarah." Lisa's voice was warm, almost affectionate. "You look so much like Ming, your mother, my sister." Sarah's hands clenched into fists. "Don't say her name." "Why not? She was my sister long before she was your mother." Lisa glanced at Maya, who stood rigid beside her zip-tied hands trembling. "I'm sorry about the child. I don't enjoy threatening innocence, but you've been remarkably difficult to negotiate with." "Let her go," James said quietly. His hand rested near his concealed weapon. "Take me instead. I'm the federal agent. I'm the valuable hostage." "You're the expendable parent." Lisa's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Maya's leverage. You're just an obstacle. But Sarah is family. Sarah has what I need. And Sarah won't let a child die if she can prevent it." She was right, and Sarah hated her for it. "The research," Sarah said. "That's what you want. The full Project Lazarus files." "Yes. Caldwell stole my life's work and gave it to you. Poetic, really. My niece becomes the guardian of my greatest achievement." Lisa checked her watch. "The bank opens in 3 minutes. You retrieve the research. I release Maya. Everyone walks away." "You're lying." James's voice was flat. "The moment Sarah hands over those files, you kill us all." "Probably. But what choice do you have?" Lisa touched Maya's shoulder, making the girl flinch. "The alternative is, I kill her now, and take the research by force. I'd prefer cooperation, but I'm flexible." Sarah looked at Maya, 10 years old, crying silently, already traumatized by watching her father in combat, by being kidnapped, by standing next to a woman who discussed murder like a business transaction. "I'll get the research," Sarah said. "But I need guarantees. You need nothing." Lisa's pleasant demeanor cracked. "You need to understand that I've spent 15 years developing Project Lazarus. 15 years of my life dedicated to pushing human evolution forward. And your mother, my sanctimonious, self-righteous sister, convinced our family I was dead because she couldn't accept what I was creating. Mom said you died in a car accident. Your mother lied. She found out what I was working on and decided it was too dangerous, too immoral. She gave me an ultimatum: abandon my research or be dead to the family." Lisa's laugh was bitter. "So I chose death, faked the accident, let Ming believe she'd won. And I kept working. Creating super soldiers for the highest bidder," James said. "Creating humanity's next evolution. Do you know what Project Lazarus can do? Regenerate destroyed tissue, cure cancer, reverse aging, end human suffering." Lisa's eyes blazed with conviction. But the military only saw weapons potential. They wanted controllable soldiers who could survive anything. When I refused to limit the research, they tried to shut me down. "So you went rogue," Sarah said. "Stole your own research, sold it to foreign interests." "I liberated my work from government censorship. The buyers I chose understand the technology's true potential. They'll use it to advance humanity, not create better killers." "Russian military contractors and Chinese state enterprises." James's voice dripped skepticism. "Those are your enlightened buyers. Those are pragmatists who understand that evolution doesn't wait for ethics committees." Lisa pulled out a syringe, held it up to the growing light. "This is Project Lazarus, the final stable version, not the prototype Volkov injected you with, Sarah. The real breakthrough. Sarah stared at the amber liquid. How did you know about that? Volkov worked for me. All the contractors did. I hired them to retrieve my research from you before federal agents could seize it. Lisa smiled. And to test the prototype serum. I needed human trials. You volunteered niece. Thank you for that. Rage burned through Sarah's fear. You experimented on me. I gave you a gift. Enhanced strength. Heightened perception. The prototype only lasts a few hours, but the full version... Lisa held up the syringe. This lasts forever. One injection and you become something more than human. I don't want to be more than human. Everyone wants that. They just won't admit it. Lisa looked at Maya. Even children understand. Ask her, would you like to be stronger? Faster, able to protect yourself from bad people? Maya's voice came out small and defiant. I want my dad. Your dad can't protect you. He's human, limited, mortal. Lisa turned back to Sarah. But imagine if he wasn't. Imagine if one injection could make him invincible. Would you deny him that gift? That's not a gift, Sarah said. That's playing God. God is an absentee landlord. Someone has to manage the property. Lisa checked her watch again. 2 minutes until the bank opens. Make your choice, Sarah. The research for the child. Or I inject her with the serum right now and we see what happens when a 10-year-old's body tries to process forced evolution. James moved then, hand going for his weapon, but Lisa was faster. She grabbed Maya, pressed the syringe against the girl's neck. Don't. I'll inject her before you clear leather. James froze. You wouldn't. I'm a scientist. I need data. Maya's young enough that the serum might bond differently. Could be a breakthrough. Could kill her. Lisa smiled. Want to find out? No. Sarah stepped forward. No, I'll get the research. Just please don't hurt her. Finally, cooperation. Lisa lowered the syringe, but kept her grip on Maya. 1 minute. Then we go inside. Sarah's mind raced. The safe deposit box was in the bank's basement vault. Multiple security checkpoints. Staff would be arriving. If she could signal someone get help, don't think about signaling anyone, Lisa said, reading her face. I have 2 contractors inside the bank, disguised as security guards. They'll kill everyone in the building if you deviate from instructions. Get the research. Bring it to me. Nothing else. The bank's front door unlocked. A manager appeared, turning on lights, preparing for the day. Time's up. Lisa gestured toward the entrance. Move. Sarah looked at James. Tried to communicate everything in a glance. I'm sorry. I don't know how to fix this. Save Maya. James's expression answered. I'm not leaving you. We survive together or not at all. They walked toward the bank entrance. Lisa followed, one hand gripping Maya's arm, the other holding the syringe like a weapon. Dawn light painted everything gold, and Sarah thought absurdly that it was a beautiful morning to die. The manager looked up as they entered. Good morning. How can I... He stopped. Saw Maya's zip-tied hands. Saw Lisa's syringe. Saw James's barely concealed weapon. Safe deposit box access, Lisa said pleasantly. Dr. Chen needs to retrieve something from box 317. You're going to facilitate that. If you trigger any alarms or signal security, I inject this child with a lethal substance. Understand? The manager's face went white. Yes. Yes, I understand. Excellent. Lead the way. They descended into the vault. Fluorescent lights, rows of metal boxes. The manager's hands shook as he unlocked the gate. Box 317 is in the far corner, he said. You'll need Dr. Chen's key and signature. Sarah has both. Lisa pushed Maya forward. Open it. Sarah's hands trembled as she pulled out her key. The safe deposit box had seemed like such a clever hiding place 3 weeks ago. Insurance against exactly this scenario. Now it felt like a death sentence. She inserted her key, signed the access form. The manager inserted the bank's key. The box opened. Inside 3 USB drives. Innocuous. containing research that could change human history or end it. "Take them," Lisa ordered. Sarah reached for the drives. Her fingers brushed cool metal. This was it. The moment everything ended. She grabbed the drives and threw them across the vault. They clattered against concrete, skidded under boxes, and Lisa's pleasant demeanor shattered. "You stupid—" James moved. His weapon cleared the holster, aimed at Lisa's head. "Let Maya go, now." "Shoot me and I inject her." Lisa pressed the syringe harder against Maya's neck. "Your daughter dies screaming while her nervous system tears itself apart. Is that what you want?" "Dad, please." Maya's voice broke. The vault door slammed shut. Everyone froze. Heavy clicks. Locks engaging. Someone had triggered the vault's security protocol, trapping them inside. "What did you do?" Lisa spun toward the manager. "Nothing. I didn't the timer. It's on an automatic timer." The manager pointed at a digital display. "The vault locks at 6:15 every morning for system checks. It won't open again for 90 minutes. 90 minutes. Trapped underground with Lisa and her syringe and no way out. "This is your fault." Lisa glared at Sarah. "You delayed us. Now we're all trapped." "Good," Sarah said. "Now you can't escape. Morrison's people will storm this building and—" She checked her phone. 15 minutes. You're caught." Lisa laughed. "You think I didn't plan for this? My contractors upstairs will slaughter anyone who tries to breach. By the time federal agents fight through, 90 minutes will have passed, and I'll walk out with the research." "You'll walk out in handcuffs," James corrected. "We'll see." Lisa looked at Maya, at the syringe, at Sarah. "New plan." Sarah retrieves those USB drives. James hands over his weapon. "Or I inject Maya right now, and we spend the next 90 minutes watching her either evolve or die." Sarah met James's eyes, saw the calculation happening, the impossible choice. "Don't," Sarah said quietly. "James, don't give her your gun. She'll kill Maya. She'll kill Maya anyway. You know that. The moment she has what she wants." Sarah's right. Lisa's smile was cold. "I probably will kill you all, but probably isn't certainly. Maybe I'll have a sentimental moment. Maybe I'll remember Sarah's my niece. Maybe I'll let you live." She pressed the syringe harder. "Or maybe I inject a 10-year-old and watch what happens. Decide fast. You've got 10 seconds. "Wait." Sarah stepped forward. "Wait, I'll get the drives. Just don't hurt her, please." "Sarah, no," James started. "I'm not letting her die." Sarah looked at Lisa. "You want family cooperation. You want me to help you. Then promise me Maya lives. Promise on Mom's memory." Something flickered in Lisa's expression. "Ming would have hated what I've become." "Yes. But she loved you anyway. She cried at your funeral. Real tears for a sister she thought was dead." Sarah's voice softened. "You were her hero once. Her brilliant older sister who was going to change the world. Don't destroy that memory by killing a child." Lisa was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Get the drives." James puts his gun on the floor. "And maybe the child lives." It wasn't a promise. It was barely a possibility, but it was all they had. Sarah crawled under the safe deposit boxes, retrieved the USB drives, handed them to Lisa. James set his gun on the concrete floor, slid it toward the vault gate. Lisa pocketed the drives, released Maya. The girl ran to her father sobbing, and James held her with shaking hands. "There." Lisa held up the syringe again. "Everyone cooperates. Everyone survives. See how easy that was." "Now what?" Sarah asked. "Now we wait for the timer. 90 minutes. Then I leave. You stay here. By the time you convince bank security to release you, I'll be gone." Lisa sat down against the wall, still holding the syringe. "Make yourselves comfortable." The manager sank into a corner, terrified. James held Maya, murmuring comfort. Sarah stood in the center of the vault, mind racing. 90 minutes. Morrison would have tactical teams here in 10. But Lisa's contractors would hold them off. People would die in the crossfire. Unless... The prototype serum, Sarah said suddenly. How long before it's completely out of my system? Lisa frowned. 24 hours for full metabolization. Why? And if I took another dose? The effects would compound. Your strength would increase exponentially. You'd be unstoppable for approximately 6 hours before your cellular structure collapsed and you died. Lisa's eyes narrowed. What are you planning? Sarah looked at the syringe in Lisa's hand, at the amber liquid that promised power and death in equal measure. Give me the serum. Absolutely not, James said immediately. Sarah, don't... Give it to me. Sarah stepped toward Lisa. You want test subjects. You want data. I volunteer. Inject me with the full version. Let me experience your glorious evolution. And then... She met Lisa's eyes. Maybe I help you escape. Lisa studied her. You're lying. Probably. But you're curious. You want to see what happens when someone already exposed to the prototype receives the full serum. It's a unique opportunity. Sarah held out her arm. Science requires sacrifice, right? That's what you always told Mom. That's why she couldn't accept your work. Because she knew you'd sacrifice anything for discovery. Ming was weak, sentimental. She valued individual lives over collective advancement. And you value advancement over everything, including your own survival. Sarah smiled without humor. So prove it. Inject me. See what happens. Worst case, I die and you get your data. Best case, I become your greatest success story. James grabbed Sarah's arm. Don't do this, please. We'll find another way. There is no other way. Sarah pulled free. Lisa's right about one thing. Humans are limited. But if I'm not human anymore, if I'm something more, maybe I can protect you. Protect Maya. Protect everyone outside that vault door who's about to die when Lisa's contractors start shooting. Or you die, and it's all for nothing, James said desperately. Then it's for nothing. But at least I tried. Sarah looked at Maya, still crying in her father's arms. You asked me why I'd die for your daughter. Because she deserves adults who choose her, always, even when it's stupid, even when it's impossible. She turned back to Lisa. Do it. Inject me. Give me your evolution. Lisa held the syringe up to the light. You understand this is irreversible. Once the serum bonds to your cellular structure, you can't go back. You'll either become something extraordinary or die trying. I understand. And you're certain, no last-minute maternal panic, no begging for mercy. I'm certain. Sarah's voice was steady. I watched my mother waste away from cancer. Watched her beg for death because the pain was too much. If your serum can end, that suffering can make humans strong enough to survive the things that kill us, then maybe it's worth the risk. Lisa smiled. For the first time it reached her eyes. You're more like me than you know, niece. Don't flatter yourself. Lisa grabbed Sarah's arm, found a vein with practiced ease. This will hurt. The full version bonds faster than the prototype. Your nervous system will essentially rewire itself in under 30 seconds. Then we'd better make them count. Sarah looked at James, at Maya, at the manager cowering in the corner. Get away from me. When the serum takes effect, I might not be able to control... The needle punctured skin. Fire poured into Sarah's veins. She'd thought the prototype was bad. This was agony magnified 1,000 times. Every cell in her body simultaneously died and was reborn. Her vision exploded into colors that didn't have names. Her hearing sharpened until she could count individual heartbeats in the building above. She screamed, collapsed. Her spine arched off the concrete muscles seizing, and distantly she heard Maya crying, and James shouting, and Lisa talking rapidly into a phone, documenting the reaction. Then the pain stopped. Sarah stood, felt her body responding with impossible smoothness. looked at her hands and saw them vibrating with barely contained energy. Fascinating. Lisa circled her like a scientist observing a successful experiment. How do you feel? Sarah felt everything. The air moving through the vault, the electromagnetic fields from the lights, the 4 heartbeats in the room, each one distinct and individual. Strong, Sarah said. Her voice sounded different, deeper, more resonant. Can you break the vault door? Sarah looked at the steel barrier, saw its structure, saw the weak points where metal met concrete. She walked to the door and punched it. The sound was like a gunshot. Metal crumpled. Her hand didn't. Again, Lisa ordered. Sarah punched again, and again. The door bent inward. Locks groaned. Stop, James's voice, afraid. Sarah, you're not yourself. That serum is controlling you. I'm more myself than I've ever been. Sarah turned to face him, saw his fear, saw Maya's terror, saw the manager's shock. I can save you, all of you. I just need... Above them, gunfire erupted. The tactical teams had arrived. Lisa's contractors were engaging. People were dying. I need to end this, Sarah finished. She hit the vault door one final time and it tore free from its hinges, crashed into the hallway beyond. Sarah walked through the opening. Lisa grabbed the USB drives, moved to follow. Sarah, wait. We should... Sarah turned, looked at her aunt, at the woman who'd created her and condemned her. You said humans are limited, mortal, weak. Sarah's voice was cold. But you're human too, Lisa, and you just made me something more. Understanding dawned in Lisa's eyes. You're not going to help me escape. No, I'm going to stop you. Sarah moved faster than thought, grabbed the USB drives from Lisa's hand. This research, it dies with you. You can't kill me. I'm family. You stopped being family when you threatened Maya. Sarah crushed the USB drives in her fist. They shattered. 20 years of research destroyed in seconds. Lisa screamed rage and lunged with the empty syringe. Sarah caught her wrist twisted, and Lisa crumpled. Alive but unconscious. James? Sarah didn't turn around. Take Maya and the manager upstairs. Get them to safety. What about you? I'm ending this. Sarah walked toward the stairs, toward the gunfire, toward Lisa's contractors, who had no idea what was coming for them. Behind her, James gathered Maya and ran. Sarah climbed the stairs. Each step precise, controlled. She wasn't human anymore. Wasn't limited by fear or doubt or mortality. She was evolution. She was justice. She was every promise she'd ever made, manifested in enhanced flesh and bone. The contractors saw her coming, raised their weapons, fired. Sarah moved between bullets, grabbed the first contractor, broke his weapon, broke his will to fight. The second contractor backed away, shouting in Russian. Sarah answered in Russian. The serum had enhanced her cognition too. Languages she'd barely studied became fluent. She told him to run. He ran. The third contractor was smarter. He'd already triggered the building's fire suppression system. Water poured from ceiling sprinklers, creating chaos. Sarah walked through it, found him hiding behind a desk, pulled him out. Where are the others? She demanded. Gone. They left when you... He stared at her with naked terror. What are you? I'm what happens when you threaten children. Sarah dragged him to the federal agents storming through the bank's entrance. Morrison, I have a gift for you. Deputy Director Morrison stared at her, at the contractor, at the destruction Sarah had caused in under 90 seconds. Dr. Chen. The vault. Lisa Chen is there, unconscious. The research is destroyed. Sarah's vision was starting to blur. The serum's effects were fading. Maya and James are safe. The manager is in the parking lot, and Her legs gave out. Her legs gave. Morrison caught her. Get a medic. No. Sarah's voice was weak now, human again. No medics. I need to know Maya's okay. She's fine. She's with her father, and she's asking for you. Good. That's... Sarah's vision tunneled. Morrison. Lisa said the serum lasts 6 hours. She lied. It's killing me. Hold on. We'll get you help. There's no help. This is the price. Sarah smiled, blood on her teeth. But Maya's alive. That's what matters. Tell James, tell him she deserves the moon. Tell her to keep drawing it. You can tell her yourself. But Sarah was fading. The serum had burned through her like wildfire, given her 6 minutes of godhood and taken everything in exchange. She thought about her mother, about promises kept and broken, about choosing strangers over family and finally getting it right. She thought about Maya's gap-toothed smile, and she thought that maybe, just maybe, dying for the right reasons was enough. The world went dark, but somewhere in that darkness, Sarah heard a child's voice. Is she going to be okay? And James's answer, I don't know, baby, but she saved you. She saved all of us. That was enough. Sarah Chen let go.